Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy AM coming to you with an AM vlog. And this particular vlog is going to be more of a talking head where I kind of go over YouTube as a whole and how we are approaching it. And overall, I would say that this year our consistency and as well as our videos have improved drastically from the previous years. We're just putting a little bit more effort into what we're making, and I think it shows. And so we're pretty happy with the way things are going, but we kind of ran into a pitfall just recently. When summer hit, the weather gets warmer, it gets hotter, and there's been several issues that we had to figure out how to navigate. And so for us as, small YouTube creators, we do pretty much everything DIY. And with that means you run into a lot of pitfalls. And so in this video, I just kind of want to go over some of the things that we had to figure out and tackle while we're making YouTube videos, especially in the summer and throughout this whole year. They say the best way to kind of build your audience is to stay consistent. And I believe we've been doing that fairly well. There's a time this summer where we took about 1.5 week break, but that was due to having family come up to the Pacific Northwest and traveling and vacationing and things like that. And so I typically don't like to film all of our vacations and all of the extra stuff that we do, because it just seems like that should be kind of kept for yourself in private. And so for me, it was something that I figured out that I wanted to kind of separate the two. I think that approach is nice because you don't have to be what is considered on. When we turn the camera on, it's kind of weird because it's still us as a people, but we have to adopt this more energetic personality that's more hype, more exciting, I would say. And with that, it takes a lot out of you because you have to always be aware of your surroundings, aware of what's going on, always having to commentate and things like that. And so when I go on my own vacations and things like that, I don't want to be like that. I just want to be whatever mood that I'm in and just kind of just do that. And so, that is one of the hard things about creating content, is because you have to pick and choose. And so if you want to start out in making YouTube videos, you're going to have to figure out how you approach the content and how much of you want to share of your own personal life. And so for us, we kind of share a lot about who we are. And, I think it shows in the channel and it reflects, what people want to see. But it also means that sometimes there's a lot of stuff that we cannot share because it's just, private, and also it should only be done between AM and PM. And it's just really, weird where you draw that line. I know people in our community probably want to see more and pull back the curtain even further, but for us, we have to kind of keep things to ourselves, so it's not 100% transparency to our audience. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's something that we have to work with. And so I don't know how others do it, but that's just something that we kind of wrestle with. And then the second thing that we find that to be really difficult is that when the seasons change, it gets a lot harder to make YouTube videos. So for us, summer is here in the Pacific Northwest. We're hitting 100 degrees consistently, and it is really hard to do content. Because one, there's not a lot of air conditioning in many of the homes here in the Pacific Northwest. We have a lot of portable air conditioners, and if you ever had one of those things, they don't really, output as much to the whole space that you're living in. Usually you just put it in just the bedrooms, and then everything else just remains, as is. And so especially in the living room, your the communal space is pretty warm. And then with that, it makes you feel more lethargic because at the end of the day, you're hot. You don't want to get in front of a camera because you don't feel good, because you're sweating, and it's a lot of things that just kind of add up onto it. Another thing though is you want to have fun. We were in COVID for 2 years, and this is the first time that we've gone out and are doing stuff. And a lot of our content previously was a lot of stuff that we did inside, and so now we're trying to do stuff that's more outside. And with that, there's other things that we want to do where we don't want to film, and so it just becomes a time issue as well. And another thing about, making YouTube videos is that it's very time consuming. We are a 2-person team, and I do most of the editing, so it's pretty much a DIY type of organization. And that means that, when it comes to putting out several videos in a week, you have to dedicate at least a couple of hours to make it look decent. And if you want to make it look better, you have to add more hours to that. And so if you've noticed that the quality of our videos have greatly improved, and we're kind of experimenting with different looks and different styles and just different things on our channel. And so all of that, requires study, practice, and also just making sure everything that we're doing just works well. And for that, it's just really it's been really rewarding in terms of the new skill sets we've learned, but it also means that there's less time to do other things that are fun. And so for me, in my own personal life, I had to make a choice between the 3 things that I liked the most, and that was either watching cool TV shows, playing video games, making YouTube videos. And I only could do 2 of those things, so I had to cut out, watching cool TV shows. So I'm pretty much backed up on everything that people have been up to date on. Stranger Things Season 4 came out. All the Marvel shows I haven't even watched. Even just more shows that just keep coming out, and I don't have time for that because I'm either making YouTube videos and then hanging out with PM or playing video games. And so that's basically kind of what my life has been reduced down to. But I get a little bit more enjoyment out of making YouTube videos because my skill sets, like I said, has been improved greatly. And so I think me as an editor and how the videos are starting to look is starting to take shape and just be really, really cool. And I think the next evolution of what AMPM is going to look like is going to get better year by year. Overall, I would say that those have been the 3 main issues that we've ran into while making these videos, and I just kind of want to talk about them for those that are interested in making YouTube and just kind of hearing it from a small creator such as ourselves. We're about to hit 200 subscribers. Shout out to the Day and Night Gang. And then just kind of let you know if you want to get into this, that you'll face some of these issues pretty early. I mean, we hear about burnout, and that's true. You can get really burnt out, especially if you do the same type of content over and over and over again. And, that's great for the algorithm, but for us, we kind of tend to vary our content so we don't fall into that trap. But that also means that our growth is very small, because if people want to get the same thing over and over again, we don't typically provide that. And so for having the small amount of viewers that we do, we really appreciate it, because you have to figure in the fact that they are coming to our channel just to watch the stuff that we do, and they generally enjoy it, because it probably is a bad decision on our point to not cater to the algorithm. But I think for our own sanity, we decided that we would just approach AMPM Adventures more as a TV station or TV network, and then there's individual shows on that channel, so that we don't run into that situation where we're always doing the same content over and over and over again. And because life changes, you don't. There's some stuff I watch, for years, but I like to see the growth of people and see where they go and what new things that they do. And so for me, making these YouTube videos, that's kind of what I wanted to do. And overall, I think that really helps us out, because it makes it fun to do things that we haven't done in a while. So it's it's time to do AMPM Eats. And we can do that. And now we're doing reactions. We haven't done reactions ever on the channel, but now we're doing it this year, and it's been kind of fun. We don't know what what it holds for the future. We're just kind of going along, and just fun things that are popping up, we just kind of jump on it and try it. If it doesn't work out, we can pivot. But yeah, like I said, the algorithm doesn't like that type of stuff. It likes to be able to really narrow down what kind of audience you like, and then just makes you want to push towards that. But I think, like I said, burnout is the number one thing that most creators face, because it's hard to kind of think of new ideas when you've kind of done all of them. Hopefully, we we reach our sub goal for this year and hit those 200 subscribers, and you'll unlock the pie extravaganza. We've been filming that content, and it is pretty funny. It, you know, behind the scenes talk, it is, yeah, it's really funny. And so I think you'll like it if you stick with us. I know this is like pretty long-winded of me just talking about like YouTube and stuff like that, but you know, for this vlog I just wanted to kind of dive deep into that and just let people know, because I think it's important, and especially when you hear from really small creators talking about it, because you know, if you start your channel, you're gonna be at this point. You know, low-key, I like watch my videos like all the time, because they're like really cool like memory capsules for me, because I remember like, oh, we did this, we did that, that's so cool. And then you just watch it, and it's like, you know, a video journal of like what we have done in the past couple of years. And then if, you know, the channel never amounts to anything, and we have, you know, family and friends, or even if we start having kids, that is like a whole record people can just like dive into and be like, hey, this is what they did, and this is what, you know, their life was like during that time period. Thank you for those that have been loyal and been sticking with us. And so I think next year there's gonna be some pretty cool stuff coming down the pipeline, and then hopefully, you know, we hit a new subscriber goal and just keep going and growing and growing. So that's gonna be pretty much the end of my rant. And if you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. If you love it, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to let me know what other things I should talk about, like in terms of YouTube content creation or behind the scenes type of stuff of AMPM Adventures, let me know in the comments, and I'll maybe do it on one of my video vlogs. And other than that, I give you peace.